It's the Fox 9 Game of the Week here from TCO Sports Garden. It's White Bear Lake welcoming in Rogers in a top-tier Class 2A boys high school hockey matchup. It's coming up right here. Fox 9 Game of the Week up next.
There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone.
Tonight's Fox 9 Game of the Week is brought to you by our following sponsors: White Bear Tire and Auto, Carboni's of White Bear Lake, American Family Insurance agent Steve Smith, Janelle Nelson Realty, Summit Orthopedics, and True Stone Financial. Hans Bristol with you here from the TCO Sports Garden. Great time of year getting the boys high school hockey season underway. A couple of games in, or just a one-game inish for the White Bear Lake Bears coming into this matchup tonight, but it is two high-profile teams battling it out for a good matchup to open up the 2024 and 25 season. Two teams, plenty of talent, a lot more to come on the way here from TCO Sports Garden. We'll be back in just a moment with Puck Drop, White Bear Lake, and Rogers right here on the Fox 9 Game of the Week.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
All ready to go here at the TCO Sports Garden. White Bear Lake and Rogers, two teams, high anticipation, high profile, talented players, both sides of the ice for these two teams here tonight. And this is a matchup highlighted on the calendar. And coming into this one tonight, game number 2 of the season. The White Bear Lake Bears starting off the year 1-0, coming off a win headed up north, taking on Duluth East in a 4-0 shutout win, and a very strong performance from Leo Gabriel in goal. Had 11 saves in that one on the season so far. Jack Stanius, the senior, 4 assists in that win for the 4 points, but it was Blake Eckerly, 2 goals on the power play, and totaling out 3 in their game-opening win of the season. Meanwhile, the Rogers Royals, 2-0 to start their campaign, ranked number 3 in the Class 2A boys high school hockey polls. They're coming off a very impressive win over a good Shakopee team on Saturday, 5-2, and it was Mason Jensen, the senior, leading the way, who picked up a pair of goals in that one against Shakopee. It was their second win of the year, their season opener, coming against Andover. As we're underway, White Bear Lake skating left to right in our opening period. Great crowd on hand here tonight with the Rogers dumping this puck in deep early on by Mason Jensen. In behind Leo Gabriel's goal, and our opening seconds of this one here from TCO Sports Garden. Stanius with a bit of pressure on the far wall. Puck will get cleared, and we'll see a face-off come down into the Rogers Royals zone. Starting with our goaltenders tonight, I already mentioned for White Bear Lake, the senior Leo Gabriel got the winning goal against Duluth East with 11 saves. Really good performance defensively, and also killing off 5 Duluth East penalties, and a good start for the penalty kill on the season for White Bear Lake. Rogers bringing it out of their own zone from Geardy, sends it over to the far wall. Gabriel will stop behind his own goal. And it's Wyatt Knott, the senior, in goal at the other end of the ice for the Rogers Royals. Skate right to left. And a lot of excitement around this Rogers team to open up the new season. We got a bit of miscommunication on a change, but nothing from our officials here early on. Vukic has this puck played off his stick. Marquardt sends this one to the far wall. Royals had it out in front of the Bears' goal for a moment. Ends up far corner for Vukic. Right in on goal here for the Royals. A couple of really strong performance in that win over Shakopee. As comes free out towards center ice. Norman sends it in deep for White Bear Lake. 15:35 to go in our first period. Here, Bears and Royals from TCO Sports Garden. One of the premier matchups to open up in our opening weeks of the 2024-25 high school season. Tanner Olson handling it to the line, turns it over there. Sent quickly in by Zach Bay. Ends up all the way down to Wyatt Knott. There's Division I talent, juniors level talent, both sides in both of these lineups, and it comes free in. Is Avner Bellis, who moves in for Rogers, and it's a good stop by Gabriel. That's the junior Bellis. 6 points last year, but Gabriel comes up with an early stop here for White Bear Lake. Faceoff will come in the Bears zone. And Mason Jensen, of course, the junior, 36-point season a year ago, headed to Ohio State. Owen Beardy's already seen his stick on the puck to open up these first couple of minutes for the Rogers Royals. Face-off win by Rogers, unable to hold the zone. Newlander carries in down to the far corner for White Bear Lake. 14:40 to go in our first period. Still scoreless. 2 shots for the Royals so far. Out to the center line. Vinaruzzo dumps in. Rogers their first one to it. Went out to the center line for Snunberg at the moment. Was trying to transition. Just end up turning it over to Stanius. Stanius moves in. He has it played off of his stick. Not much opening for either one of these very dangerous offensive threats so far. And these top units that look to do a lot of the offensive damage. Stanius moves in. Sends a shot just wide of that top corner. Distad keeps it in from the line. Picked up below the goal line there by Rogers. Ends up far side to Duquesne. Sending it down this near wall. Luis was there. Had it just for a moment for Rogers. Gets played back inside of the Royals' own zone with 13:54 to go. Period number 1. Here's a turnover that catches Gabriel off guard on his glove side. It was nearly fed in by Keaton Luis. It was right to that puck for Rogers. And Gabriel was just a little late to it. And we had a covered up puck into the netting at the other end above the cage of Wyatt Knott. But Gabriel having to be taking a weird bounce off of the end boards, leading to the first real good Rogers chance in this one so far. Shots on goal 3-0, favoring the Rogers Royals. Here for you on the Fox 9 Game of the Week. Great to have you along with us here early on from TCO Sports Garden. Great crowd on hand, knowing the talent that a Class 2A boys hockey matchup provides in both of these teams. There's plenty on the White Bear Lake side as well. I mentioned a couple of those Division I commits that are Rogers Royals. Kellen Branton is on the forecheck there initially. Olsen controls behind of the White Bear Lake goals. The Bears getting back to the state tournament last year, champions of that always tough Section 4. Their 20th all-time state tournament appearance. All these Rogers Royals trying to make it a first trip and really believe like they have the squad to do just that. Comes out to the center line, and it's over to Olsen, who plays it in deep. Knott stops it behind his goal. Takes a tumble there for a moment. Boy, we've seen some stumbles from both of these netminders in our opening minutes. 12:40 to go. Pressure behind the Rogers goal. Good forecheck here from the Bears. Rogers are able to play it out. Stretch pass to the far side. Up back in from the center line. Gabriel holds it in, trying to spin it between his legs and has to cover up once again. Just trying to, Jake Vukic, the senior, just trying to force it in on that White Bear Lake goal and cause some chaos out in front of goal. Doesn't lead to anything more than Leo Gabriel covering up the puck. 12:25 to go in this first period. Still scoreless. White Bear Lake and Rogers here from the TCO Sports Garden. Face off here to Gabriel's glove side. Won by Evnir Belus for the Rogers Royals. Beck skating back in deep here for White Bear Lake. Bears coming off a 29-1 season, 12-1-1 in the regular season against those Section 4 opponents. Top 10 in state in defensively and goals allowed per game as this puck skips off of Evan Newlander, either the body or the stick, and just goes wide of the Rogers goal. All the way back to Marquardt, controls at his own line. Backhanded in by Newlander. Can't feed it any further forward. Escapes the stick of Tanner Olsen here near side for White Bear Lake. 11:40 to go, first period. Still scoreless. Rogers Royals ranked the number 3 team in Class 2A, knocking off the number 2 ranked Shakopee Sabres. And these Rogers Royals really loading up their schedule early on in the season. They've got bigger goals on the brain, and that first one would be, of course, to win this Section 5, losing to Centennial last year in the Section semifinal. Stanius moves in here for White Bear Lake. He's taken down between Geerdes and Hauser. Being chased down the far wing there for Weiss, all the way in behind the White Bear Lake goal. 11:02 to go in this first period. Still scoreless, White Bear Lake and Rogers. Held out at the line, taken away there by Nash Road, the freshman, and of course, a last name that's well known to these passionate Bear fans as we get White Bear Lake moving in offside. We'll get a face-off in neutral ice here. 10:50 to go in this first period, still scoreless. Royals 2 wins on the year, opened up the season November 21st. That was a 2-1 win over Andover. They're coming off an 18-7-2 win from a season ago. Averaged 5 goals per game. That actually made them finish tied for second in Class 2A. Just an goal-scoring machine that were these Rogers Royals all season long last year. So scoreless here so far. This White Bear Lake team, one of the better defensive numbers teams from a season ago. Ends up below the Bears' goal line. 10:39 to go here in the first, and catching the post. Oh, Nolan Geerdes had a look, had a lane, and took it out from the point, and that kicked off of Leo Gabriel's post and ended up into the netting and out of play. That's the kind of vision that Nolan Geerdes has, coming off a 7-goal, 36-assist season a year ago. Led this Royals team in assists and points with 36 and 43. Brenton pushed into the wall, comes out near side into Geerdes, just dumps it in deep. Have to be chased down far side by Hauser. That defensive unit of Nolan Geerdes and Matty Hauser is going to be already really a talented one, but a pivotal one to this Rogers season. And their head coach, Dave Brown, in his 6th year. Seen a lot of wins, a lot of strong play from his Rogers teams over the year, but of course the ultimate goal of making it to downtown St. Paul in the spring and winning their section. Royals haven't met that goal yet. Still very early on in this season. And a good test with these White Bear Lake Bears here tonight. 2 physical games Saturday against Shakopee. White Bear Lake here tonight, and here's a good feed out front. Lee's had the look on goal. He was knocked down. It was denied wide. Comes back out to the line for Smith-Connect, who sends it on through. And that puck ends up over into the bleachers on the far side of the ice with much better offensive zone time here from these Rogers Royals with 9:33 to go in our first period of play here from TCO Sports Garden on our Fox 9 Game of the Week. Hans Bristol with you. Great to have the boys high school hockey season home opener on home ice here for these White Bear Lake Bears. Great crowd here on hand on a Tuesday night and a holiday week. Royals win the draw, comes out to the line. Cheslock far side, trying to play a shot through. Kurtz will just step up to it for Rogers, and we once again get a puck deflected up into the netting. Real rhythm to this game here so far, but you can already see what this Rogers team is capable of. Had a couple of players depart that were in that senior class from a season ago. One of those guys, Brandon Swanson, posted a 17-goal, 18-assist season for these Rogers Royals. Centennial team they lost to in this Section 5 went on to finish third at the Class A 2A Boys State Tournament, I should say. Kurtz will carry back in deep here for Rogers. 9 minutes to go in the first period. Bears try to force a turnover on the forecheck. Baloo will just carry up this near side. He takes a hit there from Selski. Ends up in behind of the White Bear Lake goal. 8:45 to go here in the first. Still scoreless. Bears and Royals. Carried into some space. Marquardt just tries to play it over the White Bear Lake line. Comes free for Stanius, who gets a shot off. And a good look on goal there from the senior. He's coming off a 23-point season himself, but covered up nicely there by Wyatt Knott, the senior in goal. Just 4 starts last year for Rogers, 3-1, had a 1.5, 2 goals against. I really believe he is a senior leader in that goal here for this Rogers team. A face-off win here for the Bears to hold their offensive zone. That puck deflects through. Looked like it caught the stick of Noah Norman, but goes wide. White Bear Lake still hold it in. 8:20 to go here in the first. Shoveled up through neutral ice. It'll be a long chase in here. Connor Sundberg, only Royal, went over into the offensive zone, trying to chase that puck down. Ends up to Doroff back out at the center line for White Bear Lake. It's Norman who sends it all the way through, and we Had a White Bear Lake skater offside with 8:03 to go here in the first. No score. White Bear Lake and Rogers here from TCO Sports Garden, our Fox 9 game of the week. Tuesday night holiday week here for you. And the boys high school hockey season, all of the season previews, players to watch, featured multiple names from both these teams. White Bear Lake making it to that state tournament last year, ended up at the heartbreaker in the quarterfinal round. There's going to be hungry to, of course, be another perennial threat in this Section 4. Royals move in 3-on-2. Onto the backhand shot stop. Gabriel has to cover up after a big collision. Jensen initially got taken down. He might have been the one looking for the whistle, and we get a little bit of a tangle up on that glove side of Leo Gabriel. Gabriel had to cover up a rebound, and that is what, of course, Keaton Weiss and Parker Duchesne moved in on goal to try and find any loose puck they could. Therefore, Rogers Royals is making sure our netting is back in play. It's a good stop by Gabriel on a face-off win and a quick shot from Keaton Weiss on that far circle. 7:33 left here in the first. Still scoreless. Shots right now 8-1 favoring the Royals. Out to center ice. Held at the line by Distad. Dumped in here by Stanius. Over the Royals line. Kicked into the corner. Pair of Bears trying to battle for it and send it out front. Was Nash Road looking to find Stanius out in front of the Rogers goal. Now it's held in here by Road. Stanius in front, but tied up by Smith-Connect. It's ahead here for Keaton Weiss. Down the far wall with the backhand. Sends it to the forehand and sends that shot just wide. Boy, just too strong there from Keaton Weiss. Get to that back shoulder of the defender. And ending up sending that shot high and wide. 6:56 to go here in the first. We still stay scoreless here. White Bear Lake Bears and Rogers Royals. Bears last season 8-4 right here on their home ice. Strong record throughout the long regular season. Lalonde moves in deep there for White Bear Lake, trying to win that puck off the stick of Sinclair. Ends up back onto the near side. Cheslock pushes this one forward. Ends up right wing below. He goes down to the ice. Couple of Rogers fans looking for a whistle. Not going to get one. Stays scoreless. No penalties in this one so far. 6:25 to go here in the first. Out to the point. Into the stick ahead here of Hunter Doroff down the far wall. That gets taken away. Chess match here so far between these two teams. Good hit out at center ice. The physicality has picked up as this period went on. That was Kellen Beck laying the hit out at neutral ice. Comes out to the point. Shot back in. Loose puck. Trying to get to it was Cheslock. Ends up loose. Right back out to neutral ice. Gabriel out of his crease. Sends it up the far wall. Rogers be the first one to it. Into the corner. Fed out front. Olsen is there. Fends it away and knives it forward, but that gets out of the reach of Beck. Not much for these two offenses, but the shots are favoring these Rogers Royals here so far. 10-1, Royals with the lead in the shots here so far. These two teams met, was a good one-goal game. Rogers knocking off this White Bear Lake team a season ago, 3-2. It was a real good team later on in the regular season. Now we get the high-profile matchup this early on in the year. Approaching our final 5 minutes here of the first. Not too many grade A chances here from both of these sides. As Duchesne tries to move through neutral ice, gets taken away here by Stanius. And Stanius moves in, and he is denied. Wyatt Knott with the glove stop, denying the senior Jack Stanius of his first goal of the year. Well, Wyatt Knott has entered this contest and has the biggest save as Stanius took it to his forehand, was able to just move straight in on goal there for White Bear Lake. Didn't have enough defensive pressure, but it was Wyatt Knott comes up with the glove stop here to keep this game scoreless. 4:38 to go. This pass stretches out here for Weiss. Weiss has one in the middle, and he'll take it himself, and it's covered up by Gabriel. And Parker Shane, the senior, the Lindenwood commit, pounding right toward the top of the Leo Gabriel crease. We get saves by the goaltenders at both ends. 4:33 to go here in the first. Far circle face-off win here for Rogers. Trying to turn, nearly turned into a turnover right there at the line as Shane was just looking to turn for a setup pass. There were two Bear defenders right on top of him. 4:15 to go here, period number one. Still scoreless, White Bear Lake and Rogers. Great Class 2A boys hockey matchup here for you on the Fox 9 game of the week. Early on in this boys high school hockey season. Dumped into the corner. Final 4 minutes of this first. Fed out in front, trying to shovel it in. Weiss was in the area, and the goal is off its posts. As it was another good look there for the Royals. Peyton Weiss, the senior, right on top of the goal, had that great feed from Parker DeShane, but it doesn't lead to a Rogers goal any further. Gabriel was able to cover up what's been some strong chances in the shots favoring Rogers here. 11-2, 3:57 to go in this first period. The Royals have certainly been the more dangerous side between these two teams, and that's what they can do, as we talked about. Top two scoring team in the state last year, and that's the kind of talent they had a season ago, and a lot of that talent right back here on this Rogers lineup into the new season. Here's when the draw. Puck ended up out to the far boards. Rogers recover in here at center ice. Dumped down into the near corner. Marquardt chases out of the corner there for White Bear Lake. It's all the way back into the line. Kurtz dumps it back in. 3:28 to go. Rogers once again really dominating their offensive zone for large portions of this first period here tonight against these White Bear Lake Bears. First home game on home ice for the season. White Bear Lake able to break out. This is Lalonde forcing it in. Glove side stop to the blocker there of Knott. Back onto the stick of Smith Connect. Carries in, low circle, shovels out front. No Royals there. Bratton right back to recover. He sends that puck wide. Rogers just done a great job getting pressure and moving that puck in. Right in on the White Bear Lake goal. Large portions of this first period. And some breakout transition opportunities on offensive zone entries here for the Bears. Neither team able to convert here so far. Puck comes back into the White Bear Lake zone. We're going to get an icing and a face-off back inside of the Rogers zone. 2:36 to go here in the first. I'll remind you again of our sponsors for tonight's Fox 9 game of the week. White Bear Tire and Auto, Carbonis of White Bear Lake, American Family Insurance agent Steve Smith. All great sponsors here for us tonight to bring you a really top-tier Class 2A boys high school hockey matchup here tonight. Great to see these two teams battle this early on in a season. Got a lot of eyes on both of these teams headed into a new year. Stanius has had a real good first period. Skips his way into the zone. Eckerly had it out of the corner. He's coming off the hat trick. This puck deflected in front. It stays loose, and White Bear Lake score! Nash Road was the last one to it for the Bears, and it gives White Bear Lake the 1-0 lead. Not a new name to this White Bear Lake hockey community, and it's Nash Road, a ninth grader who was with both knees on the ice, able to pick up that loose puck and just fire it beyond of Wyatt Knott. And it's White Bear Lake with the early lead, and that goal coming here late in the first period. Nash Road gonna pick up his first of the season. Player who's going to be a big part of this White Bear Lake lineup as Leo Gabriel has to cover up that puck on the near post. And, of course, that last name Road, don't need to remind White Bear Lake fans of what Nolan Road was able to do for this Bears team with 33 goals, 25 assists, already making some noise in the USHL with Tri-City. Well, it's Nash Road here tonight, the 9th grader. He's got White Bear Lake on the board, just 1:52 left here in the first period. There's real first time they've had a good look on goal, trailing in the shots in this opening frame, 12-4. And they have been the ones to find the back of the net first as Gabriel has a puck jump loose right onto the stick of Keaton Weiss. Just couldn't pull the trigger there for Rogers. Oh, it was a similar look there for the Royals. Couldn't pull the trigger, and it ends up back to Hunter Doroff the other way here for White Bear Lake. A minute 25 to go here in this first period. Hans Bristol with you from TCO Sports Garden. Final moments of our first period as this one's carried in deep, shoveled out front there by Mason Jensen. It's all the way out to the point, therefore Hauser can't hold it in. Doroff tries to play it forward, eventually ends up with Doroff again carrying over the line. Ends up free into Norman, and that one caught the post. Or no, it might have caught the mask of Wyatt Knott, and a good look there from Noah Norman, who had a goal in that opening game against Duluth East. Took it from the high slot. Yeah, that wasn't the post. That was the mask of the senior Wyatt Knott stopping a shot. 45 ticks. All that's left here in the first. This game's really opened up since that White Bear Lake goal here in these final minutes. Blasted in out from the center line by Ballou. No penalties to speak of in this first period so far. 30 ticks left here in period number 1. Far side into Kurtz. Trying to play it forward. That one gets taken away. Bears defensively, their sticks have been really a turnover problem for these Royals. Into our final seconds. Rogers trying to break away. 12 seconds. Backhanded top of the slot. It's going to be covered up nicely there by Gabriel. Nothing further to speak of. That move in on goal. To get the stop there was Leo Gabriel. So Nash Road, the 9th graders, got the opening goal in this one here for White Bear Lake. Makes it a 1-0 lead here. The shot still favoring Rogers, 14-5. Final 8 ticks on a face-off win for White Bear Lake. Puck comes out to the Bears line. We get a whistle for that puck ending up into a bench. Just 2 seconds to go here in the first. Going to be staying inside the White Bear zone. Bears picking up a little bit of momentum. Trailing in the shots. Getting the goal that's got them the lead coming to the final ticks of our first period. And maybe a little bit of confusion who should be out there for White Bear Lake. Face-off does get blocked, and it was loose out at the point for Geertis, but it's not going to be enough for a chance on goal, and it's White Bear Lake in our Fox 9 game of the week, who move to period number 2 with the 1-0 lead here over the Rogers Royals, as we send it into our first intermission here on the Fox 9 Game of the Week. Nash Road, our lone goal scorer here from period number 1 inside the TCO Sports Garden. It's White Bear Lake 1, Rogers 0. Time for our intermission. Stay with us. You're watching the Fox 9 Game of the Week. White Bear Lake with the early lead.
There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears!
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone.
First intermission here from the TCO Sports Garden. White Bear Lake have the 1-0 lead after 17 minutes of play here. Hans Bristol back with you here on the Fox 9 Game of the Week. I want to remind you about all of our great sponsors that we have make this game possible here for you tonight. White Bear Tire and Auto, Carboni's of White Bear Lake, American Family Insurance agent Steve Smith, Janelle Nelson Realty, Summit Orthopedics, and True Stone Financial. All great sponsors of ours here tonight for the Fox 9 Game of the Week. Good first period. Shots favoring Rogers 14-5 out of period number 1. And the only thing to report back on a first period summary is a Nash Road goal. The freshman gets his first goal of the season for White Bear Lake, picking up a rebound and just burying it beyond Wyatt Knott in the Rogers Royals goals. The fifth shot of this period led to the lone White Bear Lake Bears goal of this period here in the first. And it's what's got White Bear Lake in front by 1-0 in the first and only meeting between these two teams in the regular season. This one coming here tonight at the TCO Sports Garden, and these two teams battling it out in what was a high-profile first period. But again, kind of mentioned it a few times, Rogers really controlling the puck well in the offensive zone. Already 14 stops in goal from Leo Gabriel. He's got his saves number above the 11 saves he had in the game season opening win, I should say, against Duluth East. And a guy who's coming in with a 1.95 goals against, a 9.22 save percentage. He was really hovering around being in the top 15, top 20, certainly in those goaltending numbers throughout the state, throughout Class 2A boys hockey, coming off a season ago. And it's Wyatt Knott who came up with some big stops but let the one goal go in for 4 saves after our first period of action. 17 minutes in, second period just around the corner. Don't go anywhere. It's the Fox 9 game of the week. Good one here so far. Rogers, White Bear Lake, the Bears, the 1-goal lead. Nash Road, the first goal in this one here tonight. First goal of the season for Nash Road. First goal in this one here. Bears and Royals here tonight from TCO Sports Garden. We'll be back in just a moment. Second period just around the corner right here on the Fox 9 game of the week.
There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears.
Second period just about to get underway here from TCO Sports Garden, White Bear Lake, Nash Road from Eckerly and Stanius in the first period. It's got the White Bear Lake Bears in front here on our Fox 9 game of the week as we head into our second period. I'll remind you of our sponsors here for us tonight on the Fox 9 game of the week. Janelle Nelson Realty, Summit Orthopedics, and Truestone Financial. Shots on goal out of that first period, 5-14, favoring the Rogers Royals out of period number one. Here from the TCO Sports Garden, one of the busiest, always really an exquisite sports facility for sports ages of all levels here in the East Metro. And here tonight for you, a premier, top-tier, really talented matchup between these two teams. It's a 2-1 win when these two teams met last year, right here at the TCO Sports Garden. We talked about some of the losses from Rogers coming in to this new season. Of course, just 2 games in with the wins. Impressive wins already here against Andover and Shakopee. White Bear Lake as well, of course, we talked about Nolan Road off to the USHL with Tri-City. Dylan Buteau, senior who graduated, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points. He had Kevin Laska also paced this White Bear Lake team offensively. 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points from a season ago. But already we have seen some of the star playmakers in Nash Road on this top line for this White Bear Lake team. Already getting a shot away in our opening seconds here from TCO Sports Garden. Back into period number 2, the Fox 9 game of the week. Minnesota High School boys hockey, White Bear Lake and Rogers. Been a good one here so far. Hans Bristol, glad to be here with you here tonight from TCO Sports Garden. As right away, Parker Duchesne tries to move it up ice with Geerdes chasing it down from the far wall. It's dumped in behind for Gabriel to have to stab away into the corner. Gabriel athletic, always moving goaltender, not afraid to be aggressive outside of his crease. See how this second period starts. Really started off cagey between these two teams. Rogers had the momentum, the stronger chances, doing really good job of holding in their offensive zone throughout this game. As this is Mason Jensen who moves in down the near wall, ends up behind a goal for Cam Ludke to the far circle, and he's hit hard, brought down to the ice. Big hit there from Tanner Olson. White Bear Lake fans applauding that one here early on in the second period. Puck tangled up there between the skates of Vukic on that far side, carrying off the wall. Turns into a 2-on-1 here for the Bears from the far circle. Spinning it out in front. Malloy from the ice, trying to get that shot off. And whistle blows that move dead from the far post. Ends up being at that post. Might have just got kicked off a little bit there by the left skate of Wyatt Knott, but good 2-on-1 chance. Liam Malloy, a sophomore, looking for his first point of the season as Evan Newlander moves in on this draw. Ends up losing it there to the senior Jake Vukic. Puck rings around the wall to the far side there for Lukey. Held in at the line, intercepted right in front of goal there by Smith Connect, and it's carried in here by Sundberg, sends a shot in, and that is stopped by Leo Gabriel, who is up to 15 stops in this one. The shots on goal now 15-6 favoring these Rogers Royals. Still with plenty of playmaking opportunities here from this Rogers offensive attack. This puck zips its way through, all the way through neutral ice as it ends up out in front. Newlander first there to it, comes up to Dordoff at the center red line. Dordoff carries in from the right wing. His shot is deflected, and it ends up off the stick of Blake Sinclair. Ends up out of play here for Rogers. We'll get a face-off inside of the Royal zone. A couple minutes into our second period here. Still 14:53 to go in the second. 2-1 game between these two teams last year, and it's got that feel. Just a one-goal White Bear Lake lead here now with the ninth grader Nash Road. The only goal in this one so far between these two teams. Baloo sends it out to the far corner. Cheslock plays it out to center ice. It's on to the stick there of Russo. Russo hands it off to Beck, and it's poked away off of Dorff. 14:25 left here in period number 2. Seen just the one shot here so far for both of these teams in this period. Out to the far circle. That ends up below the goal line. Eckerly out to the point. Comes near point here for Bay as Bay sends a shot through. Stanius in front of goal. Can't redirect. Eckerly tries to shovel out front. Now Eckerly looking for Stanius. It skips past him. His stick was tied up. Good pressure in again here by the Bears. Offensive attack, pressuring in on this forecheck. Long offensive zone time. Trying to play it out of the corner below. Ends up being held in at the wall. Eckerly couldn't get to it. Rogers will dump this one away for an icing, but it'll lead to a face-off coming back toward the Rogers end of the ice. 13:38 to go here in the second period. Still 1-0. White Bear Lake with the lead. Leo Gabriel, the Suburban East Conference goaltender of the year in 2023-24. The 18-9-1, 1.95 goals against, the .922 save percentage. Comes up to the near side, and Shane moves in, trying to center it out front. Really good stick, and a defensive effort from, I believe that was Will Distad. No surprise on that top defensive unit as the Bears can't work it out of their own defensive zone, and it might have caught a piece of the post. Ends up safely into the corner. Shane, the first one there to it. Ends up behind the White Bear Lake cage into the far circle. Rifled in by Geertis, ends up wide. Pushed down to the near half wall. Point to point. Geertis dumps it into the corner. Long chase in for Stanius to try to work it away from this near side. 12:45 to go here in the second period. Long shift down here defensively for White Bear Lake and these Bears. Ends up far circle. Turning that shot. It whistles through. Catches off the shoulder of Gabriel. Took a deflection down the ice. Nope, did not. Will just be signaled Pooh, bringing icing back down inside of the White Bear Lake zone. 12:34 to go in the second period. No real grade A chances for either one of these teams to start period number 2. Leaves us with 12:34 to go. No penalties in this one so far. I'm not seeing power play or the penalty kill from either side in this one. 12:32 to go in this second period, and look out for a puck flying into this near side of the rink. And another face-off here inside of the White Bear Lake zone. It's a good start to the season in that season opener against Duluth East. The White Bear Lake penalty kill going 0 for 5 in that one, killing off all 5 Duluth East power play chances, and that included a 5-minute major. Zach Bay, the junior, picked up a 5-minute major for boarding in that win over Duluth East. Started off the season 1-0 after a 20-win season last year for these White Bear Lake Bears. Long carry down the far wing. Olsen trying to shovel it in front. Bears moved in offside. It was Tanner Olsen and Liam Malloy on the rush there for White Bear Lake. Set up for a neutral ice face-off here with 12:10 to go in the second period. Schedule does not let up in the upcoming games for the Bears. Look ahead to Forest Lake upcoming next week, along with good matchup with Wayzata as well in their upcoming games for White Bear Lake. Rogers will look ahead to St. Thomas Academy. That's what these teams do early in the season. Stack up some of those big-time matchups. And, of course, the Suburban East Conference is what the Bears will look to ahead into conference play. Rogers out of the Northwest Suburb Conference. They'll turn their attention to that play when it approaches. But here tonight, it's a elite Class 2A boys matchup here in high school hockey for you tonight. This one ends up out to the center line. That gets below the skates of a pair of Bears defenders. They're able to control out of their own zone. 11:30 to go here in the second period. Out to the center line. Trying to rifle that one back in was Lalonde. 11 goals, 8 assists last year for these White Bear Lake Bears. It's deflected out to the point, and it was eventually chased onto the stick of Jack Stanius. Ends up offside. We'll get a face-off back out to neutral ice. We're talking about some of the D1 talent. Parker Shane, 13 goals, 29 assists. He is the Lindenwood commit. Did appear in 2 games in the Null for the Minnesota Mallards. Had an assist in those 2 games. Mason Jensen as well, the senior, 16 goals, 20 assists last year. Commit to Ohio State. He posted a goal and an assist in 7 games with Tri-City in the USA Challenge. This really speaks to the type of talent really both of these teams have. Of course, White Bear Lake have their recent Bears that have gone on to make plenty of noise all the way up into the pros in their historic years. Actually, last year, 2023-2024, Rogers boys hockey celebrating their 20th anniversary. Good speed down the near wall here for Doroff, and it was leveled out in front. Beck got a piece of it, catches off the blocker of Knott, and ends up to the far side. Now Rogers bring it back the other way with numbers. Soriento and Deshane can't connect on a pass. Soriento fires in a shot, ends up being battered around for a moment. We'll just stretch out to Matty Hauser, who will chase back in deep defensively here for Rogers. Good pass up the far wall to Sorrentino. Carried in and shoveled out in front, and they score! Mason Jensen. The patient pass and the feed to Keaton Weiss, who finishes it off. And Rogers tie this one up. all the speed that those two need. With 10:08 left here in this second period. The senior tallying the game-tying goal here for Rogers. So from Jensen, who took that long stretch pass. That's another look for Jensen inside the Rogers zone, and they score again. Just like that for the Royals. Right back down to the other end. Jason strikes again for Rogers. And all of a sudden, it's the Mason Jensen show for the senior, and he's got the second within seconds here for Rogers. This was adding to my notes the previous Rogers goal. And the Royals, with 9:51 to go here in the second period, make it 2-1 into period number 2. Well, just like that, Mason Jensen. Parker Deshane's going to pick up an assist there for Rogers, but it was Mason Jensen who's got the goal as the senior. And White Bear Lake try to respond, and nearly a chance for Nash Road at the other end of the ice. As Road sent that one out to the top corner, and it ends up being covered up by Gabriel at the other end. Well, boy, oh boy, this game just opened up wide open, and Mason Jensen, the future Buckeye, doing what he does best, just finding himself into those open spaces offensively, and strikes for. They did announce that previous goal. I thought it was Keaton Weiss who had that initial goal there for Rogers. We'll get that confirmed for you. Right now they announced it as the Jensen goal, so it's 2 for Jensen here with 9:25 left in the second period. And nothing less. Right as we were talking about Mason Jensen, I just had the thought of how it's been a quiet game here so far. Jensen had other ideas, but it's White Bear Lake who tie it up at the other end. It's a snipe from Ryan Marquardt, and the Bears level it up here in the second. Don't blink, we've got goals at both ends here for the Bears and Rogers. My goodness. Ryan Marquardt, who gets the snipe for the defender, who's listed as a defender, and for the sophomore. Certainly didn't have the look of a defender taking that shot. But Marquardt finishes it off there for the Bears. And just like that, we're all tied up at 2 apiece with 9:02 left to go. Within 60 seconds, 3 goals, 2 there for Rogers, 1 there to White Bear Lake, and the goals starting to come alive now for both of these teams. Ryan Marquardt, the sophomore, with the snipe from the point, catches it over the corner of Wyatt Knott. And right now, with 9:02 to go in the second period, we're all tied up at 2 apiece. Boy, just like that, that just shows you from that offensive explosion from both of these teams that we've been waiting on throughout this first and second period. And that is certainly what we have gotten here in period number 2. Here's a tough angle shot from Brock Cheslock out of this near circle. Sends that one in and deflects off of Gabriel out of play. We'll get a face-off back inside the White Bear Lake zone. Goals galore for both of these teams. And it was Rogers who struck at the other end of the ice for the Royals. And right now has us tied up at 2 apiece. And Marquardt gets his first tally of the season for White Bear Lake. Gabriel has to stab that one away out in front of goal. Jensen was right back with it, tries to shovel it out front. Eckerly sends it into the Rogers bench, and we will get a face-off with 8:20 to go here in the second period. Good one here. Rogers, White Bear Lake all tied up at 2 with the goals coming in fast and furious here between these two teams. Good matchup here tonight in what has been a very strong second period. And boy, on the backhanded chance off the rebound, Keaton Weiss sends that one just between the pads of Leo Gabriel, and it kicked out in front of goal. Well, you feel like there's going to be more chances for both of these teams to come here in this second period. The shots now favoring Rogers 19-9, with White Bear Lake and Rogers all tied up at 2, and Gabriel covers up a shot fed in by Jensen, and Kellen Branton gets that one turned toward goal for White Bear Lake. And it's stopped by Gabriel, who is up to 18 saves in this one here from TCO Sports Garden. Good look there from Kellen Branton, who only posted 2 points last year for the Rogers Royals. Looking to be much more of an impact on this Rogers lineup throughout this season here for these Rogers Royals. But right now it's Ryan Marquardt, the sophomore. He's got the game-tying goal, ties us up at 2 apiece. Hans Bristol with you here in TCO Sports Garden. This puck went high into the rafters, didn't catch the ceiling, so this puck stays alive and it comes into the near corner. And flicked on over the top into neutral ice. Ends up one down the near board, shoveled out front. In the area there was Cheslock, but it comes back out free here to center ice with Malloy chasing in, and that one catches a piece of Wyatt Knott on the shot there from Noah Norman. And Norman had that good look on goal. Boy, I tell you what, that's one of the couple of pucks that has caught high into the padding of Wyatt Knott in goal here in this one for Rogers, who does have 8 saves in this game for the Royals. But couldn't stop Nash, Road, and Ryan Marquardt goals. 2 here tonight for White Bear Lake, 2 for Rogers, all tied up at 2. 6:40 left in the second. Off the end wall to the forehand. Geerdes looking to bring it up ice here for Rogers. 6:30 here to go in the second period. 2-2 here on the Fox 9 game of the week. Boys High School Hockey, White Bear Lake welcoming in Rogers. What's been a good one here for you tonight? Gibson into the corner here for the Bears as it ends up wrapped around in behind of Gabriel in goal. 6:10 left here in the second period. All tied up at 2 apiece. White Bear Lake 1-0, Rogers 2-0 on this young season so far. I think I said Rogers were number 3 ranked. Those new rankings came out earlier this week, and seeing the Royals move up to that number 1 spot, but that's not what these Rogers Royals is on their brain right now. They're trying to think about a 2-2 game here with 5:40 to go in the second period. From TCO Sports Garden, and to Jensen. Tries to flick it out front. And Luis was in the area. White Bear Lake have to chase deep in on their own back check. Comes back out to Skitnik on this near side for the Royals. Sinclair holds it in at the line. Ends up back into the corner. Well, we had a flurry of goals within 47 seconds apart. 3 goals, 2 for Rogers. We're checking on that first Jansen one, but it was Jansen involved in both of the Rogers goals. Had the second goal. There's Keaton Weiss, who set up that assist on that second goal in play there for the Rogers Royals. And Ryan Marquardt tying things back up here in period number 2. All the way on to the Rogers line. Active stick there from Stanius. Held in well defensively by DeShane at the other end of the ice. And it looks like we're going to have our first power play, and they are going to get Jack Stanius for a slash. So it's going to put the Rogers Royals on a power play here. 4:35 to go in the second period. So it's a White Bear Lake penalty on a slash. With 4:35 left in this second period. So an opportunity here for the Rogers Royals to get that lead back that they saw for only 36 seconds in this second period. Now to the point here for Rogers on a win on the opening faceoff. It ends up to connect down to the corner. Ends up free out to the far wall for Kotke. Shovels it in deep here for Rogers. Royals on the power play. Their first of this game. First penalty from both of these teams. Jack Stanius on the slash. Here for Rogers. Ends up below the goal line. Duchesne down to the near circle. Wristed on by Melius. It ends up blockered. Stopped by Gabriel. Still feeding this pressure in here for Rogers. Melius over to the far wall. Point here for Skitconnect. Into the corner. Kotke. Back out to Skitconnect. Chased back in by Bellis. All the way through there for Kurtz. Far side. Skitconnect tries to send a shot through. Now it's just rifled out front. Caught the pad side there of Gabriel. And ends up back into the corner with Vukic there chasing for this Rogers power play. 48 seconds left in the extra attacker. Skinich moves in. Puck is loose in front of Gabriel. Deflects back into the near side for the Royals. And that one hits off the stick of, I believe that's Hudson Kotke, the junior. Just trying to play it down to his stick. And it's back into Duchesne, who carries in down near wall. 25 seconds left on the power play. Here's a shot from Cheslak from the slot. Deflected off of Nate Selski and out of play. Good effort from this White Bear Lake penalty kill here so far with 24 ticks left here, 2:59 to go in period number 2 from the TCO Sports Garden. All tied up at 2 apiece, 20 seconds left of a Jack Stanius shot here in period number 2 with 2:45 to go. In our second period of action, 8 seconds left on the power play. This one rifled in at Leo Gabriel. 2:35 left here in the second, and it ends up all the way back down, clearing the Rogers zone, and it's a penalty killed here for White Bear Lake. After Jack Stanius went to the box on the slash, and Stanius picks up a turnover right out of the penalty box. Ends up onto Jensen. Moves in down the far wall. Dumps it off there for Weiss. Jensen carries in. Wraparound chance. That goes off the blocker of Gabriel. Picked up back by Stanius over the center line. One of the White Bear Lake captains. Road comes right back to it. 2:05 is what's left here in the first. And carrying in all the way for Gabriel to cover up is Keaton Weiss right in on goal there for Rogers. So 2:01 left here in the second period. The penalty killed here late in period number 2. The shots on goal 24-10 now in favor of these Rogers Royals. .201 left here in the second. All tied up at 2 apiece. Here from TCO Sports Garden, our Fox 9 game of the week. In an excellent second period of action here for you between these two teams. With 1:48 to go here in the second period. All tied up at 2 apiece. Here's a hit right at the Rogers line. Nearly led to a Rogers turnover. Comes all the way back into Matty Hauser in the far corner. Looking up the wall. Good stretch pass here for Sundberg. Has some space. Over the Bear line, Sundberg carries into the corner, out to Gabriel, stopped with the blocker, comes down to the point here for Smith-Connect. 1:15 left here in the second period. After the Bears were able to tie this game up, Rogers forcing in some pressure of their own as this is caught at center ice by Jensen. Down to the ice on the turnover. Jensen sends a shot through. That gets deflected high into the boards, and we're into our final 60 seconds of our second period here from the TCO Sports Garden. What a great matchup between these two teams here for you so far. All tied up at 2 apiece. 45 ticks left here in period number 2. Shots on goal, 24-10 now. There's only been 5 White Bear Lake shots. One of those, a goal to Marquardt, the sophomore. His first goal of the year. It's out of the reach of Lalonde. Carried back in near wing here for Duchesne. 23 seconds left here in the second. And this puck deflects into the Rogers bench to our right. 21 ticks left here in the second period. White Bear Lake and Rogers all tied up at 2. Here on our Fox 9 game of the week. 21 ticks left here in our second period from TCO Sports Garden. Great to have you with us. Hans Bristol with you. Our second intermission coming up. Recap what has been a wild second period. 2 quick strikes of goals from Rogers, but the Bears had a response. Final 15 seconds here in the second period, and this one ends up out into Nash Road, who moves forward. Nash Road moving in, and he is denied on the stop by Wyatt Knott. That's some great speed from Nash Road. Explosive into the Rogers zone and is denied on that chance. 9.9 ticks. All that's left here in the second period. Oh boy, they've got a star brewing. Another one of the roads here in White Bear Lake with 9.9 to go in the second. Nearly made it a second goal of this game. Puck gets cleared away on the face-off. It will clear the White Bear Lake goal line with the final 2 ticks ticking away. There was a penalty given to Rogers. It was a penalty to Nolan Geertis right at the end of that second period, where we come to a close here from the TCO Sports Garden. All tied up 2-2 after 2. And in that second period, it was a goal from the Royals. Mason Jensen with his first with 9:51 left in the second on an assist from Keaton Weiss. That was quickly followed up by Mason Jensen's second of this second period with 9:51 to go. In the second period, Mason Jensen already adding on to his numbers this early in the season with his 4th and 5th goals of the year for the future Ohio State Buckeye. But Ryan Marquardt, the sophomore, responds with his first goal of the year to have us tied up at 2 apiece after 2 periods of play on our Fox 9 game of the week. Boys high school hockey, it's been a great one here so far. White Bear Lake and Rogers all tied up at 2 at the end of 2. Our second intermission is upon us. We'll step aside. Don't go anywhere. Third period around the corner here. Fox 9 game of the week in a good one. All tied up 2 apiece after 2.
There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Insurance Agency. Go Bears!
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone. There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears!
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, We don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a TrueStone checking account. It's true, because we're TrueStone. There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At TrueStone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're TrueStone.
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At TrueStone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a TrueStone checking account. It's true, because we're TrueStone.
All tied up 2 apiece here. Second intermission from the TCO Sports Garden here between White Bear Lake and the Rogers Royals. All tied up at 2 apiece. Hans Bristol back with you here on the Fox 9 Game of the Week. And, of course, want to recognize our great sponsors helping make this game tonight happen here for you on the Fox 9 YouTube channel, the Fox 9 app, White Bear Tire and Auto, Carboni's of White Bear Lake, American Family Insurance agent Steve Smith, and Janelle Nelson Realty, Summit Orthopedics, TrueStone Financial. Wild second period here from the TCO Sports Garden as these two teams handing off goals back and forth there in our second intermission. It was Mason Jensen who is on the board twice in that second period with the 2 goals coming with 10:08 and 9:51 left in the second period. That was just the difference between those 2 goals, 17 seconds apart there in period number 2, but then it was Liam Marquardt with the goal for White Bear Lake with 9:13 to go in this second period. He would be the one to tie this game up at 2-2. That leveled the scoreline here in this second period. The shots on goal from our second period favoring the Rogers Royals, now 10-24 with a 5-10 advantage there in that second period of play. And it is time for our third period. We did have one late penalty come in on Nolan Geerdes with 9 seconds to go in that second period. So it's going to be a minute 51 of a White Bear Lake Bears power play coming in to period number 3. As it's our Fox 9 game of the week. So far in goal, 22 saves for Leo Gabriel. As you see him skating into his crease for the White Bear Lake Bears. And at the other end, Wyatt Knott in goal for the Rogers Royals. Stopped 8 of 10 shots from these White Bear Lake Bears. And it's been a great Class 2A matchup here so far at these opening weeks of our 2024-25 boys high school hockey season. Great to have you along with us here on our Fox 9 game of the week. Headed to period number 3. It was a 1-goal game between these two teams last year. Well, in the same year on February 6th of 2024. And last season as well, the White Bear Lake Bears falling to this Rogers Royals team the one time they met in the regular season. And we're getting set here for period number 3 from the TCO Sports Garden. Hans Bristol with you on the Fox 9 game of the week. Great to have you tuning in and joining us wherever you are tuning in from here tonight on the Fox 9 app, Fox 9 streaming live as well. On a flash, the high school hockey season flying right back into the sphere of things. And it's the Bears from White Bear Lake. Hit the opening face-off, all tied up at 2 apiece. Here into our third period we go, all tied up at 2, and it is a White Bear Lake power play, their first power play with the Nolan Geerdes penalty late in that second period. So White Bear Lake try and move it up ice. Looking to get something going on a power play opportunity of their own. As it's Newlander who couldn't get to it on that end wall. Skips all the way back down to Leo Gabriel with 16:20 to go here. Period number 3 into our opening seconds. And there's still 1:07 left of a White Bear Lake power play. This puck skips away at the line. Eckerly has to hold it there and tries to hold it for too long. All the Bears weren't back in time. And with 1:01, it will put a pause to this White Bear Lake power play with 16:10. Just 50 seconds inside of our third period. Have a face-off in neutral ice here for the Bears and Royals. Great Class 2A matchup to open up the opening weeks of a new boys high school hockey season from TCO Sports Garden, White Bear Lake and Rogers, and what's been a great one here so far. Carried in deep into his near side circle for Doroff. Doroff leaves it there for Gibson. Doroff onto the backhand, carries into the corner. 35 seconds left of this White Bear Lake power play. Up to the point, right at the line, deflected, bounces in towards Gibson. On that look in behind goal by Selski. Comes right back into Doroff on the near wing. Doroff is pushed off the puck. Sorrento the first one to it. And that one out of the reach of Tanner Olson. Can't hold the zone. Final 13 seconds of a power play opportunity to start this third period as it comes up ahead on this near wall here for White Bear Lake. Olson plays it in deep, final 2 seconds, and the Rogers Royals penalty kill come alive as it's Netzinger. Comes in on the far wing here for the Royals, and that gets to the stick of Cam Lubke, who was asking for it. Lubke couldn't connect and turn it on goal. Shots on goal 24-11. They were 10-5 in that second period facing the Royals. Now both these teams 0 for 1 on the power play. Marquardt, the goal scorer, had the game-tying goal in that second period. Dumped over the top. Road will chase into the end wall, gets it over to Stanius. Stanius levels out in front. Eckerly with the shot, and the puck's in the back of the net, but there was a whistle before it got beyond of Wyatt Knott. Oh boy, Eckerly was right in trying to shovel that stick in at goal there. That puck was in the back of the net beyond of Knott, but there was a whistle with 14:32 left in this third period. Well, could have been a bouncing puck with officials waved that bouncing puck away. 14:32 left in the third. We stay all up, tied up at 2. And we have a puck that got into the padding of Parker Duchesne somehow. We'll restart everything with a face-off inside the Rogers zone. 14:27 left here in the third, all tied up at 2. Mason Jensen with 2 for Rogers. And it was Rode and Marquardt, the 2 goal scorers for the White Bear Lake Bears. And all alone at the line was Keaton Weiss. Couldn't connect on that one to his stick. And Distad, the Mankato Maverick commit, he has to block that puck away out in front of the White Bear Lake goal. 3 minutes into the third. Stanius trying to send that puck around a defender right at the center line. Gabriel back into control. Duchesne was there initially for the Royals. Dumped in by Hauser. Changing game at times between these two teams, but those goal scorers really coming to life there in that second period as this is taken away right at the center line by White Bear Lake. Ends up onto the stick of Rode, dumps it back in the corner. That took a weird bounce, went right at the Rogers goal. Took a bad carom off of the boards. Rogers were awake there defensively. Jensen levels it out front. Can connect there with Duchesne. As that line has been asking questions all night long. And of course, Jensen with the 2 goals here for the Royals. Zach Bay carries Cheslick into the corner. Bay goes down to the ice. He gets it taken away. It ends up right back with Rogers out to the point. Geertis sends it point to point. That one rifled through by Hauser. Ends up loose to this near side, and up the wall come White Bear Lake. All the way down into the corner, and Malloy couldn't get to it. We will get an icing and come back down to the White Bear Lake zone with 12:45 left in this third period. All tied up at 2 apiece, White Bear Lake and Rogers. Top tier Class 2A matchup here at the TCO Sports Garden. All tied up 2-2, 12:45 left in this third period. Sent out to the point. Smith connects. There initially to it for the Royals. Ends up onto a White Bear Lake stick. Out of their own end comes Marquardt. Marquardt plays it back onto this near wall. 12:24 to go here in the third. It's a turnover. Ended up off of the stick of Lalonde. Hit out in front of goal. Still battled out of the corner. Now comes out free to Tanner Olson. Plays it all the way back in through the Rogers zone. 12:09 to go here in this third period. 2-2. Shots on goal. 24-12. Favoring the Royals, who bring it ahead forward. This is Kurtz who moves in, forcing Gabriel down to a butterfly stop. And it's the Bears that work it back out through Doroff in central ice. And Doroff has to get a shot away. Puck stayed loose, and a Bear goes crashing into the boards. Here for White Bear Lake, and it keeps us tied up at 2 apiece with 11:50 to go in the third. This puck ends up into the Rogers zone, and with 11:50 to go in the third, we'll have a face-off. Good looks at both ends of the ice for both of these teams, trying to add a statement win to the early part of their regular season schedules. This is a Rogers Royals team, the most recent rankings that came out just before puck drop, ranked number 1 after the win over Andover and Shakopee in the first week of the season. Dumped in behind all the way onto the wall. Jensen was right there for it for Rogers. His puck escapes out in front to the glove side of Leo Gabriel. And it ends up safely out to Stanius on the far wall. Bouncing puck at the center line. Rode carries in, finds Stanius, and Stanius can't get the shot away. Big stick in there from Avnir Bellis. Take away that good look at goal from Jack Stanius, trying to find his first goal of the 24-25 season. Royals move in onside. It was carried in by Duchesne, couldn't get it away. There to Gearnis, ends up over to Mason. Puck ends up to a bouncing puck. Doroff first to it. White Bear Lake move back. 3-on-2 on the entry. Dumped in behind. Newlander pushed away to it on that far wall with 10:40 to go. White Bear Lake opened up this third period with a power play chance as Gearnis carries in all the way behind of the Gabriel goal. Now levels it back out in front, and the wraparound chance. Puck was still there, and they score. The Rogers Royals take the lead. It was Brock Cheslock who was at the far post for Rogers, and it makes it 3-2. Worked in on goal by the Royals, and finishing it off was the junior Cheslock, who's got his first of the year. Cheslock just ended up with a bit of space to the far post of Leo Gabriel, and it ends up leading to the goal. And Cheslock gets the go-ahead goal here for the Rogers Royals with inside of our final 10 minutes here of this third period. Well, up and down this lineup, this Rogers team can be dangerous. And Cheslock, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points last year. And there's a big hit on the far wall, but it's Cheslock with the go-ahead goal. All worked up by the Rogers in out behind of the goal. Gives them a 3-2 lead here with 9:48 to go in this third period. And on home ice, the White Bear Lake Bears looking for a response now. Ends up to the corner. Marquardt has to be the first to it there for White Bear Lake. Spinning away. Ends up out of the end wall. Out of the reach of Norman. Norman will dump in from the center line. And Wyatt Knott will have to cover up. Tyler Lalonde moved in quickly there for White Bear Lake. Find themselves trailing for the first time since 10:08 was left, or 9:51 I should say, was left in that second period when Mason Jensen had his second goal of this game for the Rogers Royals. Make it 3-2 here with 9:20 left in this third period. Puck ends up loose right in front of goal, and a big save there from Wyatt Knott. Oh, Eckerly was down to the ice, had a backhanded chance on a bouncing puck. Couldn't work it around, not in goal for the Royals. Maybe the biggest of 14 saves in this one. Shot from the point, blocked there by Stanius with Duchesne looking to work it in on goal. Stanius carries down the near wall into some space. Stanius trying to level it out in front, and a diving stop by Brock Cheslock defensively. Almost looked like he was trying to pull off the soccer slide tackle. Keep that puck away as this one's fed out in front. Stanius can't connect. Blast from the point right into a Royals defender and free out to neutral ice. Oh, Stanius trying to connect up with what would be Nash Rhodes' second goal of this game here for White Bear Lake. Just couldn't quite connect on the pass needed. 8:20 left here in this third period. Comes up the far wing and a wristed shot right into the glove of Leo Gabriel from Hudson Kotke. A junior on that last chance for the Royals. 8:18 to go here in the third. 3-2. Rogers with the lead. Brock Cheslock, the junior, with the go-ahead goal here in this third period for Rogers. Comes out to the point and it makes its way through. Jaden Kurtz, the senior, with the fourth for the Royals. A win off the face-off, and it leads to a 2-goal lead on the scoreboard for Rogers with 8:15 left in this third period. It might have taken a little bit of deflection, but Jaden Kurtz, the senior, Cheslock on the assist there for Rogers, but Kurtz just 4 goals, 11 assists last year, and it might have taken a bit of a deflection, but it makes its way all the way through off a face-off win there for Rogers. And it's got the Royals ahead here 4-2. Rogers still keep a hold of the zone. Vukic and Lubke try to connect on some passes far side. 7:40 to go here in the third. 4-2 Rogers in this third period. Cheslock and Kurtz. Kurtz's first goal of the year as well for Brock Cheslock. Both first tallies of a young season for the Rogers Royals. The Rogers have commanded this third period. Shots on goal out to 28-16 with Rogers leading. 4-2 Royals. Work to be done here for these White Bear Lake Bears in their big test in their first home game of the 2024-25 regular season. Milan dumps into the near corner. Far wall first to it. Duchesne works it out to the center line. Batted away right at the Bears line by Sinclair. Ends up out to the right wing. That shot whistles high there for Malloy. 6:40 left here in the third. 4-2 Royals in a game that was 2-1 a season ago. Have already had more goals between these two teams. Flick to the far wall for Malloy to chase down. That was into the skates of the official. Rogers have to play it away from their own goal line. 2 goals in this third period have the Rogers Royals trying to make it a third win of the season in what's been a strong start to the schedule as that one fed through with Stanius right on top of the crease. Just couldn't connect there on that pass from Zach Bay out of the far corner. Bay holds it in on the line. Low deflecting shot. Ackerley backhanded chance in the slot. Fell free for Stanius. Stanius couldn't control. Comes back out to the point. Bay sends that one through. Rebound chance. Road was there. Still loose puck. And it had to be batted down by Wyatt Knott with 5:47. And a big roar from the traveling Rogers fans. Wyatt Knott up to 15 stops in this one. And a great defensive effort to keep the Bears off the board. Nash Road trying to do whatever he can to come up with the scoring chances in this one for White Bear Lake with 5:47 left in the third. Bears open the season with a win way up north against Duluth East. 4-0. They killed off 5 Duluth East penalties. They knew the task that was at hand here tonight with these Rogers Royals and the kind of talent this Rogers team has, and they have certainly proved that. A 4-2 lead here into the third period. Still 5:30 left here in the third. White Bear Lake need 2. Right at the line. Puck tied up into the feet of Road, and White Bear Lake move in offside. Ends up onto the stick of Kurtz. Got the go-ahead goal, or make that the 4th goal of this period. It was Brock Cheslock with the go-ahead goal for Rogers. Skips behind Rhodes. Stanius right at the line. High circle, far side into Ackerley in the corner. Out to Distad at the line. Distad rifles a shot through. Caught a Rogers Royal defender and ended up wide. Puck dumped into the corner. 4:51 left here in the third. We're going to get a penalty here to White Bear Lake. It's going to be a Bears penalty to put Rogers right back on the power play. And it's going to be Stanius to the penalty box for the second time in this one. White Bear Lake with the penalty with 4:48 left here in the third. Second power play opportunity of the night here for the Rogers Royals, already with a 2-goal lead. And Stanius into the penalty box. Face-off win here, blowed down for a face-off infraction before Rogers could carry that win away. 4:47 is what's left here in the third. Rogers and White Bear Lake. Royals out to this 2-goal lead. Puck skips free out of the zone to start on the penalty kill here for White Bear Lake. Long carried in by Geerdes on this near side. Rings all the way around the boards. To the far side there for Weiss. Tripped up right at the center line was Norman. Norman short-handed, carries into the far corner. 4:15 left here in the third. 2-goal Rogers lead. All the way up ice moves Duchesne. And that puck gets deflected off a stick and right into the glove of Leo Gabriel with 4:08 here left in the third. Rogers lead 4-2. Cheslak and Kurtz here in period number 3. Difference makers so far after a flurry of goals. Had this game tied up at 2-2 right at the end of the second period. That puck goes down to the ice, point to point here for Rogers. This one deflected off of a defensive stick. That being Taylor Lalonde up into the netting in our Fox 9 game of the week here late in this third period. I want to remind you of our sponsors bringing you this one here tonight. White Bear Tire and Auto, Carbonis of White Bear Lake, American Family Insurance Agent Steve Smith, Janelle Nelson Realty, and Summit Orthopedics, along with True Stone Financial. Thank all of them for joining us here tonight for this Fox 9 game of the week. Boys high school hockey here for you on the Fox 9 YouTube channel, streaming live on the Fox 9 app as well. Hans Bristol with you. Our final 3:38 here from TCO Sports Garden, White Bear Lake and Rogers. Been a fun one between these two teams. We knew it was going to be. These two teams matching up this early in the high school hockey season. All the way into the corner. Cheslak has to chase onto the end wall. Final 3:18 left here in the third. 4-2 Rogers lead. Carried in here by Kurtz. Ends up on the end wall. Sundberg has it worked out all the way up into the boards and out of play into the bleachers on the far side of the ice. 3:07 left here in the third. 20 seconds remain of a Jack Stanius penalty. Seconds left of a second power play opportunity of the night for the Royals. Out to the point, held at the line by Hauser. Geerdes lays it down the wall, ends up into the corner for Weiss. Weiss tailies it all the way around the boards. Duchesne on the far side, sends it back up top to Geerdes. Into the near circle, that shot by Jensen blocked. White Bear Lake kill off that second penalty. And the second power play try of the evening goes awry here for the Royals. Out to the point, shot blocked off the rebound. Weiss trying to fire it in front of goal. White Bear Lake end up with control. Stanius out over the center line. 2:24 left here in the third and a 4-2 Rogers lead. Coming away with it is Jensen moving forward. Out through neutral ice. Jensen has a pass deflected out in front of goal. Ends up loose far half wall. 2:07 is left here in the third. A 2-goal Rogers lead. Rogers goals by Kurtz and Cheslak here in the third period to put them in front against these White Bear Lake Bears. Puck comes back free at neutral. Minute 50 left here in the third. Bears and Royals here tonight in what was looked at as a real marquee matchup this early on in the Class 2A boys high school hockey season, and dangerously moving in, throwing it on goal was Tanner Olson with great speed. Puck ends up getting cleared away into the just wide of the empty net of Leo Gabriel, who's off the ice. So it's an empty net here for White Bear Lake. We're going to get a face-off back down to the Rogers zone. Minute 29 left here in the third. 4-2, Rogers with the lead over White Bear Lake. A minute 29 left in this third period. And we get a timeout on the ice. We'll take a quick timeout ourselves here on our Fox 9 game of the week. Rogers leading this one late, 4-2 over the Bears.
Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears!
These White Bear Lake Bears trying to talk over a 2-goal deficit here with 1:29 left in our third period on our Fox 9 game of the week. Hans Bristol back with you here at the TCO Sports Garden. White Bear Lake Bears on their home ice for the first time this season, looking to mount a large comeback and nearly get it with an empty net. That puck just coming free, just wide of the Rogers goal. No White Bear Lake Bear was there to connect on it. Stanius out to the point, 1:12 left. Empty net here for the Bears. High point, Distad, far side for Rode. Distad back here to Stanius on the near side. Final 60 seconds. Stanius rifles a shot through. Lalonde has a chase on the end wall. It's dumped over the top. Will clear the White Bear Lake zone and bring it back down for a face-off to the Royals' end. 52 ticks left here in the third period. 4-2, Royals with the lead. Goals in this third period from Jaden Kurtz and Brock Cheslak. And made this a 4-2 Rogers lead. 52 seconds. All that's left here in the third. First to the face-off and a nice effort from Lalonde into the corner. Ends up loose at the line. Shoveling it down toward the empty net and scoring for the Royals is Parker Duchesne. On the empty net goal, it's the exclamation point with 44 ticks left here in the third. Parker Duchesne's going to add on a second goal of the season here for Rogers with 44 ticks left. And it's going to put an exclamation point on what's going to be a 3-0 start to the season for these top-ranked Rogers Royals with 44.6 left here in the third. 38 ticks left in the third period. Parker Duchesne with the empty net goal, and the Rogers are going to get back-to-back seasons with wins over White Bear Lake. This game was 2-2 out of the second period. Here's a Royal tripped up, trying to chase a puck in deep. 19 seconds left in the third. Not going to be enough time for these Rogers Royals to come up with a comeback, as a puck is going to end up bouncing loose behind of the Rogers goal. And it's the Rogers Royals going to come away from White Bear Lake here tonight with the 5-2 win over the White Bear Lake Bears. 3 goals in the third period is enough for Rogers here tonight to come up with their third win of the year. And Rogers moved to 3-0 on their 2024-25 season. Cheslak, Kurtz, and at the empty net, Duchesne all with the third period goals for the Rogers Royals, as Rogers will take this one 5-2 over White Bear Lake on our Fox 9 game of the week. We're going to step aside and wrap this one up here from the TCO Sports Garden in just a moment.
There are lots of reasons to want a big backyard. At Truestone Home Mortgage, we all agree dog birthday party is at the top. Great home loans, expert help, and a focus on what matters to you. It's true, because we're Truestone.
Janelle Nelson of Coldwell Banker Realty is your local realtor since 2005. A White Bear Lake soccer mom, she's dedicated to doing things differently. Janelle is faith-driven and committed to supporting families in transition, whether new to the community or looking to downsize. She knows the importance of finding quality neighborhoods, churches, and schools. At her side, husband Bjorn, a general contractor, provides protection and priority-free consulting, inspection reviews, and project savings for clients. Janelle Nelson is a great matchmaker, bringing new and old families together. Use the QR code to visit her website or text her directly for a real estate consultation.
White Bear Tire and Auto has kept White Bear Lake vehicles on the road for over 30 years. Why does that matter? Because the only way to achieve that type of longevity is to do great work over and over again. They hire only top-notch mechanics to make sure you and your family are safe on the road. White Bear Tire and Auto is part of the Goodyear Tire and Service Network, competitively priced and always honest. Whether you need tires, full-service repair, or preventative maintenance, stop by or call White Bear Tire and Auto at 651-429-8111 or visit whitebeartire.com. That's whitebeartire.com.
There is only one place to fulfill a bear-sized appetite, and that's Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake. Carboni's Pizzeria in White Bear Lake is proud to support high school sports in the community. They feature delicious pizza, the best happy hour in town, and did we mention great pizza? Be sure to mark your calendars for bingo every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Don't forget, Carboni's Pizzeria caters for your next event. Visit your locally owned White Bear Lake Carboni's Pizzeria before or after the game. And go Bears!
You've probably noticed your insurance rates increasing and may not have heard from your agent. So now may be a good time to talk with your local White Bear Lake American Family Insurance agent, Steve Smith, who operates the longest-running American family office in Minnesota. He provides the 5-star hometown service you've come to expect and deserve, while guiding you to the best policy for you and your family's unique situation. You can call and discuss your options with Steve and his team at 651-429-7737. From Steve Smith American Family Insurance Agency, go Bears!
It's not just any day. It's your day off. A chance to reset, to recharge. A day to lace up, stretch out, and dive into what ignites your soul. This day is all about you, living life at your summit.
A good neighbor would give you a cup of sugar if you asked. At Truestone Financial, we don't have any sugar, but we will give you up to $350 when you switch to a Truestone checking account. It's true, because we're Truestone.
Final score here tonight from TCO Sports Garden, White Bear Lake 2, Rogers 5. As let's take you through our goals in this one, starting back in the first period. It was Nash Road, the 9th grader, gets his season going with his first goal of the year to make it 1-0 White Bear Lake. That would be all the first period would have. And into the second, that is when this Rogers Royals team would come to life. Jaden Kurtz from Weiss and Sorrentino getting the goal that tied this game up at 1 apiece. And Mason Jensen with the 2-second goal there in that second period. Just seconds between each other, 18 seconds between that Kurtz and Jensen goal there in that second period. And then Ryan Marquardt with the game-tying goal that sent this game into the third period, all tied at 2 apiece. There were 2 penalties in that second. Stanius with a slash, Geardes with a slash. Third period started with White Bear Lake on that power play, but Brock Cheslock on a bouncing puck buries it into the back of the net to make it 3-2 Rogers. Jaden Kurtz just a minute 15 later would find the back of the net for the Royals, and Parker Shane right at an empty net goal wins this one here tonight for the Rogers Royals to make it a 5-2 win for these Royals, with the game finishing in shots 30-14 for Rogers. And these two teams upcoming. Rogers will look ahead to St. Thomas Academy on Friday at the Bloomington Ice Garden. Armstrong Cooper is who they will open up next week with on December 5th. Meanwhile, White Bear Lake right back here next week, Thursday, at the TCO Sports Garden to take on Forest Lake. That'll be followed up by a Saturday matchup against Wayzata here at the TCO Sports Garden as well. Well, Well, that'll wrap us up here tonight for the Fox 9 Game of the Week. Our final score, Rogers 5, White Bear Lake 2. The Royals come away with the win in back-to-back seasons, meeting the White Bear Lake Bears here tonight on their home ice. We'll say goodnight and thanks for tuning in to the Fox 9 Game of the Week. Stay tuned to the Fox 9 Sports live streaming channels and the Fox 9 app all season long for more upcoming Fox 9 Sports Games of the Week. Here tonight, it's White Bear Lake 2, Rogers 5. The Royals move to 3-0. I'm Hans Bristol for our great producer and cameraman Calvin. We'll say goodnight and see you next time right here on Fox 9 Sports Game of the Week.